Hi guys, welcome to Karma's a Stitch. I'm Tanya.
I'm Anthony.
And this is episode, holy smokes,
23.
Yeah. So it is February 11th. And when we originally started our channel, we did an episode maybe every couple of months. And then we were like, oh, okay, we'll do one every 2 weeks. And we just recently started doing it every week. Anthony participates most of the time. Right now, well, since the middle of January, my nephew, Anthony's cousin, has been here. Mm-hmm. And so there were a couple Anthony didn't participate in because he's been hanging out with his cousin and they've been having some fun guy time.
Yeah.
But his cousin went on a quick trip to do some fun stuff. And so he hasn't been here for about a week and a half. And he's going to be back
Tuesday.
Yep. So he'll be back on Tuesday. So you may or may not be here next week.
Probably not.
How long's he here?
He is here from mid to late April.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I will try and be here, but I can almost guarantee that I will not be here every week.
Right.
So
we'll see.
We'll see.
At least while his cousin's here.
Yeah. But my cousin's going to be here for a minute.
Yeah.
So
probably another 6 to 8 weeks, I would imagine.
Like that, yeah.
Yep. So, like I said, I'm Tanya, and this is Karma's a Stitch. Welcome. If you're new here, we do have some new subscribers. So welcome to our channel, our space. We have a great community here. I love interacting and the comments and it's just been amazing, which is why we originally had started. I'm going to move this down a little bit so we can see what you're working on there, son. So yeah, welcome to all new subscribers and folks that have been here for a while. Welcome back. Good to see you. You can find me on Ravelry as 76karma. Please feel free to send me I think Ravelry is add friend. And I typically add the person back because I love seeing what everybody's working on. And you can find me on Instagram as Karma's a Stitch. Do you have an Instagram?
Mm-mm.
Okay. And you can email me at tanya@karmasastitch.com. And that email will come to Anthony and I both. So if you have something that you'd like to talk to Anthony or questions for either one of us, that email is the email to send it to. We do start every episode with a scripture, and then I put that on the screen, and then I put what the actual scripture is at the end of the episode. What is today's?
Ephesians 4:15.
Okay, so Ephesians 4:15, I will put that at the end of the episode, and we are going to talk about new stuff. Do you have new stuff?
My progress.
You have progress, but do you have new items?
Mm-mm.
No?
I don't believe. Oh, yes. Yes, I do.
We talked about it briefly last week.
Yep.
You want to talk about how you feel about it this week?
My grandma. So I had a bag that was the correct size for a little while, and the bigger my blanket got, it was getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Now, whenever I went up to Alaska to visit family for Christmas, my grandma, I actually told my grandma, and she's just like, I said, my bag is kind of getting a little tight because I brought my blanket up there. And she's just like, well, we'll have to make you a bag so you can to have more room. And those of you who have watched my mom unbox my grandma's bags. This could probably go for how much do you think?
I don't know. With all the love poured into that, could you really put a price on that?
It's priceless. But I don't.
It's a fantastic bag,
It
and
really
I
is.
don't know that she'll make many more that size. This
Yeah.
was kind of special for her grandson.
Yeah. So she made me this bag, and I could only fit one skein of yarn, and this is as much as I have left. So
In your old bag.
in my old bag, along with my blanket, and it was getting snug. Mm-hmm. Like it was being stretched a little bit.
That bag would be perfect for like a shawl,
Yeah.
or a scarf, not a blanket, not a
blanket,
a bulky
like this.
weight yarn
Yeah.
blanket.
So not only I have this in here, I have a whole other skein. I can't find all of my skeins.
No, they're back there.
Yeah, they're back there. But I can have a whole other skein plus my blanket, and I will show you guys how big my blanket is later on in the video. But it's, I mean, even this bag, I mean, there's still some space in it, but
It's been a long time since you've been able to talk about a new acquisition, something new you got.
yeah.
It's not often.
Yeah, I think the last time was whenever I started this blanket.
When you got the yarn for this one, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Anthony's got something new this week. We unboxed it last week. And it was we weren't expecting Anthony to be here for last week's episode. He just kind of showed up in the driveway and walked up the walk, and I just kind of tossed him the stuff as I was unboxing. And so, yeah, he's got a new bag. Anything else new? New stuff you got?
Like,
Yarny, crafty stuff?
not that I can think of.
Okay.
What do you...
Do
Do
I have new stuff? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Is that what you're asking?
Yes, I thought you were asking me, like, do I have anything other that's new? Yeah, no, this is it. After this blanket, though,
Have you thought about what your next project's going to be?
I have not, honestly. But I feel like I got time to think about it.
I think you do have time. I think you might enjoy something smaller. Not another blanket.
Well,
Something where you can see progress quickly.
Oh, I see progress pretty quickly.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's... Where's my place marker for the last place I was? Like it's...
And that's just today.
No, not just today. Last time that I was working on it.
Last episode.
And I was working on it for like what? An hour?
Mm-hmm. I would say.
And then since I started working on it today, and I literally pulled it out and I started working on it, and so I got like maybe 2 stitches in, and then we could start on the video. So I've only been working on it for as long as this video. So it's not like I had been working on it before this video started. And so, no, I've just been working on it as long as this video is,
So far.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, new stuff for me is something that I've talked about in a previous episode, but I went and picked it up this week. And that is in this bag right here. You guys, whenever I talked about I picked up all the minis, and I showed them with Alex, and Alex was helping me color coordinate. And I talked about how there were 2 colors I didn't get, and one of them was her.
Oh, so sorry. So sorry.
It's okay.
I kicked you guys.
One of the colors
shame on
I
me.
chose not to get was her undyed, just her natural. Feel that is her undyed.
Oh, it's silk.
No, it feels like silk to huh?
Yeah, it's super
So,
soft.
I got 40 some minis, and this is by Teton Yarn. And this is going to be a blanket. It's 100% superwash merino. There's 438 yards per 100 grams. And I've got 3 skeins of this going into a project that I've already spoken about. All of the minis are Teton Yarn minis. They're all the same base. And I just got the natural, and 3 skeins of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot looser than how, like that's how tight it should be.
Yeah, you want me to take a look at that?
Yeah, that would be
Okay, let's pause that.
awesome.
One moment. Okay. Can I take a look?
Yes, you can.
No,
Did
it's
I
okay.
just? No, okay.
It's okay.
Oh no.
That's because that's not a stitch.
It's not.
No, you picked something up in here and had it wrapped over like that. But that's not a stitch.
Gotcha.
You can see that there's a line that goes straight up, a line that goes straight up. There's no stitch in between, but you had one picked up right there.
Okay.
Okay. So I think that is all I've got for new stuff this week. Now we will talk about whips. Do you want to talk about your whip? You want to talk about your blanket first?
Did you finish this?
Yeah.
This row?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's just like 8 stitches left.
Gotcha. Oh, it's over here.
Would you like to start before you start that row? You want to talk about your whip and then you only have it on 1 needle?
I really don't mind if it's on 2.
Okay.
So you can go ahead. I like to be the last one.
You'd like to share yours after. Okay.
Yeah.
So the first whip I'm going to talk about is my habitation throw, which I have in my Knitted Niceties project bag. It says, put your big girl panties on. And this was with my cornbread and honey advent calendar. This is how much I have left in my magic yarn ball.
That sounds so good, though.
What?
Cornbread and honey.
Oh, yeah. So, let's see here. I was getting ready to start. Yeah, I had just started the decreases when you guys saw it last week. So I was right here. And I've gone, so this dark section right here. That's about how far I've gotten with my habitation throw. Sorry, I'm blocking us both out, bud.
I don't mind.
I am loving working on this project. Truly. I love the eyelets. I don't know if you can see it because of the lighting. So sorry. But feel when you hold this, squish it. Like squish it.
Ooh, squishy.
It's like a springy.
It is a little bit.
So I really have enjoyed working with this yarn. I love the choice I made as far as what project to do with this. And I love how I chose to do it. I took the 20 gram minis, split it in 2, worked the first 10 grams for the 24 days, and then I started doing decreases with the day 24 in the center.
I think it's just amazing and very creative that with the project that you're doing, it's very
I love it.
Like the first 10 grams of each day, you are going out.
Yep.
And then on the second, once you're done with all of the 10 grands,
24 of those.
yeah,
Yep.
and then you're starting to decrease, and didn't you say that you're on the decrease now?
Yeah, that's what I was just showing.
Sorry, I wasn't paying. I was
That's okay.
concentrating on the.
That's okay. No, right here. So this is the.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I've gone up this far. Whoop.
Okay. And so you only do one skein a day of the 10?
No, not now, because this is the second set. So I just work on this as long as I'm wanting to knit on the habitation throw. I just go and go and go. So far today, I've already put in at least 15 grams.
So far today?
Yeah, because I went to the yarn shop this morning to talk to Erica. So I sat there and knit for a little while. So yeah. So this is habitation throw. Continuing on with this one. And this is the first project I will be, and I'll get to this later. I have a new category here that I'm talking about today, and that'll be activities that I'm participating in. So I'm going to talk about those later, and this will be one of the things that goes into one of those activities. So that is whip number 1. The next whip I'm going to talk about is my Louisa Harding sweater. Now, my Louisa Harding sweater is a kit that I bought from Angela or Angie at Yarn and Yarns. She was the first the first knitting podcast I ever watched on YouTube. And the kit came with this book, and it came with this yarn, which is what this sweater is made out of. The sweater is called Ivy. And this is the yarn that as I'm working, I keep pulling, look, right there, hay and straw out of it. See that?
Oh, yeah.
I keep pulling hay and straw out of these skeins of yarn, and I just think every single time, I just think about what an amazing process it is to take this wool that was on
an animal.
Yeah, it was on the backside of an animal sleeping in hay and straw in a barn to shear. It just makes me think of the entire process of getting the yarn to the point where I can put it into a project. And I have thoroughly enjoyed working on this project. So two modifications to this project. I've gone up a size in my needle, as well as added to my cast on count. And I think I added 6 stitches. I'll have that answer for sure whenever I complete the sweater. So One of the goals I had, so if you look at this picture, okay, there's a seam down each side. You do a front panel, a back panel, you stitch them together. And once they're stitched together, you have an armhole and you're going to make the sleeves. So one of the goals I had for this week was to finish the first panel and have a good progress on the second panel. So I partially met my goal because the first panel is done. This white stitch marker right here, that's where I was for our last episode last week. So
wow.
Yeah. So that's how much I finished. But this is the front panel. It goes across like this. So this will be on my collar, right? And then these will be that's the lace pattern that's down by the leggings.
So is that the one that you work from the top to the bottom, or is it
side to side? Yeah. So this is where I started. So this is the cast on side, and this will go on my left. And then I work all the way across, and this will be my collar, and it'll go across to my right.
So it's a sweater.
It'll be a sweater, yeah.
Nice.
It'll be that sweater. Yeah, you
so
see?
seductive.
Oh, behave. You see that? Behave. So that's the top, which I showed right here.
Okay.
You see that?
So it's the same color as that?
Yeah, it's the same yarn. Isn't that fantastic?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, this yarn is Louisa Harding. And they are 50 gram balls with 106 yards per skein, 60% wool, 20% llama, 20% silk. I am using my Knitter's Pride Ginger size US 10.5. I don't know what that is in millimeters. It's a 6.5 millimeter needle. And I love these ginger ones. They just are this smooth wood. And I have loved.
Is it made out of bamboo?
I don't know what they're made out of, but I love working with them. Feel how slick that is.
Yeah, see, the only thing with me, if it's that slick,
Uh-huh.
I would feel like the
stitches.
would slip off way easy.
They do slip off a little easy, but as you get more comfortable with your knitting, you won't mind that quite so much.
Yeah, like this metal one right here. It's slippery, and honestly, I don't think a stitch has fallen off, but there's been some close calls.
But because it's not too slippery and you don't have two metal needles, you've been able to catch it?
Yeah, with my finger.
So, I'm going to take this stitch marker off. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with my progress on this one this week. It feels good to have that first panel down.
Oh, I thought I dropped a needle or a stitch.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
So it does feel good to have this first panel done, and it's one of those projects where it's like I picked it up and I started working on it this week, and I was like, holy cow, why do I ever put this down? It's so much fun. I've had so much fun working on this. I do love this sweater, this yarn, everything about it, really. And the third whip I'm going to talk about, which is the only other active whip I've worked on this week, is a new cast on. I had to cast something on. I've tried, if you guys watched last week's episode, I have tried so hard to refrain from casting on. I really have worked hard on not casting on. But
I think you did a good job. But and with all the whips, the 20-something whips that you had,
yeah,
that was an issue.
it's not an issue. It's not an issue anymore. I've gotten that stack over there is stack of stuff that's done. Like I have finished 2 sweaters, 2 blankets, and 2 shawls.
Yeah.
In the month of January.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's really awesome. And what's her name? So, Aria Bark.
Yeah, Caroline.
Caroline. I know that you have a lot more than 20, and
she just did an episode.
Really?
She had 38,
Okay.
and that's where she stopped. And she's refusing to look through the rest of her house where she has cupboards and cabinets because she knows she'll find more.
Oh, okay. So I'm not, trying to knock on you. I'm just saying, with my mom, that was a lot. And so it was, and it's
excessive. Would you use the word excessive?
Yeah, a little bit. But I mean, I don't live here. I don't live with my mom, and I know she knits a lot, but she doesn't have a bunch of time to knit. So she has to stay up, late just so she can knit and get a good time of knitting in. And so it's a very, but anyways, so you did a really good job. I went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah,
but
it's okay.
You did a really good job not casting anything on. And so with you casting like something on, I don't really feel like that's a bad thing.
Well, I had one new cast on for last week.
Okay.
Which I haven't touched this week.
Okay.
And I have one more cast on this week, which I have had so much fun with. I'll get to it. It is the shipwreck shawl.
Ooh.
Yes. And I will hold up a picture. And I'm going to put it up on the screen because I don't know who the shipwreck is by.
I don't know how that is a shipwreck.
Oh, man. It's amazing. So
it looks amazing.
Yeah. So I have a few pictures, and I may put them up on the screen. I don't think I'll show them here. But it's definitely a lacy pattern. I have I'm going to put this back in here because I am just going to put the pictures up on the screen. Hopefully that's what you guys are seeing right now as I'm blabbering on about it. But
is it going to cover my face?
Or mine. Or both. Maybe I'll just put it across the whole screen. So I am using a lot of stitch markers just to keep track of my lace work. Okay? A lot of stitch markers. But that's what I need to do to make it so I don't... Yeah, so anyway, amazing. I am loving this shawl. Okay? And once you get out to it, once you get out to a certain part of the shawl, you have beadwork. So I'm doing the entire shawl in this purple, and I'll talk about the yarn in a second. I'm doing it in this purple, and this pattern calls, I want to say, for like 8 or 10 different needle sizes because you are starting off small and working into a larger needle. Like I think you start on a 4 and you get all the way up to like an 11.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's
isn't this an 11?
I think you are doing an 11.
Yeah.
And
a 4 is pretty small.
Yeah, that's what I'm on right here.
Oh
so,
my gosh.
so yes.
That give you I don't want to.
Yeah, don't drop any stitches. Oh yeah. There's quite a bit of a difference. Yeah. But I'll eventually get to this size in this project. But once you get to a certain point in this project, it's got beadwork in it. And so my plan is to take the beads that I've got and put them in a fade. Like I'll start with the light and gradually, I have more colors in here, but yeah. So these are the different colored beads I've got. And did I have? Anyway, so yeah, the pattern calls for like 5,000 beads. I'm super excited.
That's a lot of beads.
Excessive?
A little bit.
So,
but I mean, if you're having fun, do it.
I saw this pattern because the yarn shop owner has it hanging up in her yarn shop at one of the shops I go to. And I saw this shawl hanging there. I was like, that is beautiful.
Erica's shop.
And I was like, I really want to make that. I have no idea who I was going to make it for. Like, no idea. I would never wear something like that.
Just like her, you can just have it on display.
If I make something like that, I want to send it to somebody. So I had to wait until I had.
Yeah, Wanda.
Shh.
Grandpa, don't show this to Aunt Wanda.
She watches it.
Oh, no.
Dang, nabbit. So I needed to find somebody that I could make it for. Okay? Mm-hmm. And so as soon as I thought, oh, I could make it for that person, I got the stuff.
She'd definitely wear it.
Yeah. So the yarn I'm using is Leo and Roxy Basics. The colorway is Antique. It is 75% merino wool, 25% nylon, and 100% good vibes. Can you see that? Leo and Roxy Basics. And the colorway is called Antique. I've really enjoyed this. I just cast this on. I think I've got, a couple hours into it. But I just cast this on Wednesday night. So, anyway. Yes, I am. That's my new cast on for this week. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I think this is probably the laciest pattern I've attempted. And I knew I was going to need stitch markers to go through it. So do you want to talk about your whip? Because that's my last whip.
Okay.
Yeah. You want to talk about yours?
Yep. All right. So, how long ago was it since I showed my last progress? Definitely before Christmas.
Yeah, I don't think because you got back from Christmas and your cousin got here.
Yeah.
And you haven't, I don't think last week was the only one and we weren't expecting
And I
you.
didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't show my progress.
Yep.
So.
Did you put that stitch marker in before you left for Christmas, or did you put that in last week?
I put it in before I left.
Okay.
So this is how much I've gotten done. No, I'm joking. I've gotten that much done since Christmas. I've gotten that much done, and I've just been, distracted. I've been hanging out with my cousin, and I was hanging out with my grandma, my grandpa. It was just my sister. I was having so much fun, and so I was just having me time and hanging out with family up in Alaska, and then whenever I came back down, my cousin got here, and and so I'm not trying to make excuses. That's facts, and and yeah, so I haven't gotten a whole bunch of work done.
It's okay. So, do you see what size yarn you are using? Look on the metal one. It's an 8mm, but does it say? I think it's an 11.
Mhm.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yep.
So you're using
An 11, a size 11, and okay. And this is called Bernat.
Bernay.
And it is 100% polyester.
Yep. And you're using the 10.5-ounce balls.
Yeah, 10.5-ounce.
Yeah, I always that light right there, so I try to just angle it a little bit so the light isn't shining off the wrapper.
Gotcha. All right. Well, it looks a little blurry, but
does it have a color on there? Does it say what color it is?
It's Blue Fog Twist.
Ooh, blue fog
Twist.
with a twist.
Blue Fog Twist. And
how many skeins do you already have in there?
okay, so I have one in here.
One completed one?
One complete skein. And this, I'd have to say, a little...
Probably a quarter left of this one, huh?
Yeah.
And that's your second one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's my second one. And yeah. So I think I have a total of 6.
We got 5 or 6 for this one, yeah.
Yeah. And so I've gotten a skein and 3/4 done. And like if I hadn't have taken, like if I were to have just kept on knitting this, I feel like I'd be done with the second skein and I'd be working on the third.
You mean through Christmas if you would have just...
Yeah, if I just would have... Yeah. And like I did work on it, but I didn't even get a full skein or a full row done. Like I finished the row I was on, and then I started the next line, and I don't even think I got to where I was before.
It's okay.
And so I at least attempted.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was having a blast.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I think that's it for whips.
For whips, yes.
Unless you secretly cast something new on.
Nope. Nope.
Okay. So that gets us to FOs.
Mm-hmm.
Finished object.
Yep.
I have one. Oh, I'm wearing it. So this right here is my rocket tee. And this right here, this raglan, is where, if you guys remember, I had the eyelet where my stitch marker had slipped. And this is where it would have been so noticeable if that wasn't lined up. So I'm going to insert a video here and talk a little bit about this project because holy smokes, what fun. It is the Rocket Tee by Tanis Fiber Arts, I believe. It is on Ravelry. I believe it was a paid for pattern. If I paid for it, totally worth it. The yarn that I used was the Sueño Tweed.
Sorry.
That's okay. The Sueño Tweed in the Grandiose Gray. I loved this yarn, you guys. It's so soft. It is 69% superwash merino wool, 16% viscose from bamboo, 15% viscose flex. Hold on.
Gracious.
So,
Yeah, it's soft.
right? It's so great. These sleeves, anyway, I'm going to put a video in and talk about it, but I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the modifications that I made to this pattern. So the size that I needed, or the size that I chose, called for, I believe, 6 skeins of yarn. I have nearly an entire full skein left. I'll put in a picture because I was casting off. Okay, I was binding off around the waistline. And I had like the smallest of sections. I'll put the picture in because I was like, nobody's going to believe me. So I had to use the tiniest of tiny bits of this 6th and final skein. Yeah, isn't that fun? So I had to use the tiniest of tiny bits to finish the bind off for this. It was, so if I'm going to start at the top of this, the collar the neckline that it calls for, you pick up this, it is a V-neck, so you pick up the stitches and you do an I-cord bind off. And I love how great that looks. It doesn't feel too confining. It is fantastic. I love it. It's so comfortable. The eyelets for the raglan, and I'm going to put this in a video. I don't know why I'm showing you now. The eyelets are amazing. I love the look that it gives. It goes down, the eyelets go down the sides of the sweater on both sides. The bell sleeves are so fun. So fun. I definitely, when I saw the Rocket Tee, I'm not a huge short sleeve person. I'm usually long sleeves that like cover my hands or a tank top kind of person. And I saw these sleeves and I knew, yep, that's the version I need to make. And the one modification I made was last Sunday. Today's Friday. So last Sunday, I had reached the length that is called for in the pattern. From underarm, measure this many inches and bind off. And normally that's when you would try it on and make sure it's long enough. And I was like, I'm in my car. I'm on a Zoom call. I think I'm good. I bound it off, I-cord bind off, and I got home and I put it on and I was like, no. I like my shirts to be long enough to cover my booty. Mm-hmm. I don't like my booty showing. And so I took out and I actually put in a lifeline, like 2 rows up above the bind off, put in a lifeline and took out my I-cord bind off and added, like, I want to say 5 more inches. So this has turned into more of a tunic style, and I could not be happier with this sweater. I'm pretty convinced I will do a fingering weight version with the short sleeves. I'm not in a huge hurry to put another sweater on because I finished the Sunday sweater. I've now finished the Rocket Tee, and I've got the Louisa Harding. I'm not in a huge hurry to cast on another sweater because that's a lot, but you never know. So yeah, the Rocket Tee by Tanis Fiber Arts is complete.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. I love the fabric it makes. So as I mentioned earlier, I wanted to talk about some activities. The first one is an event that's being put on by Caroline and Andrew over at Aria Barks. She is doing a scrappy blanket make-along, and she has a group on Ravelry. I don't have all of the details, so I would encourage you to go watch her where she's talking about it. But her group on Ravelry, it's called Yappy and Scrappy. Her husband helped her come up with that name for the group because we will sit there and have Zoom meetings, and he is sitting back there doing his own thing, living his best life, listening to us women knit and yap and talk and chat. And
Her husband or Andrew?
Her husband during the Zoom meetings.
The Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's not in the videos.
And so she's like, what should I name this group? The Scrappy Blanket Make Along. And he piped up and threw in his 2 cents and said, Yappy and Scrappy Blanket. And so it stuck, and she went with it. And I think it's awesome. So my habitation throw is something I will be participating in that with, as well as this one that I have not shown in a hot minute because I have been working on everything else. But this is my Granny Stripe blanket.
And you're just, whenever you finish the skein, you just
just
grab a random color.
Oh yeah, this bag is full of minis. Of all different colors, shapes, and sizes. Because really, can you ever have enough minis?
You got a good deal on those.
No, these are different ones.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, I've got lots of different stuff, and I am just adding them in to this scrappy blanket. And so I just thought, oh my gosh, Caroline, thank you so much. It's going to be motivating for me to start picking this up again, right? I've had the habitation. This normally is the one that rides in the car with me, and I work on it. But since the beginning of December, I have had the habitation throw in the car as my car knitting. The next event I'm going to talk about is not nearly as big as Caroline's, but I'm going to have a small little cast on party, and basically all that means is I'm going to put in, I'm just going to open up my Zoom room next Saturday. I think it's the 19th of February. I'm just going to open up my Zoom room pretty much for the whole day, and I'm just going to be casting stuff on. I can't take it anymore. I can't do it. I need more project bags. I feel like I'm running low on projects, and so I'm just going to cast a bunch of stuff on. And so
Okay. I feel like you're trying to not impress me, but you're trying to look at me like is that okay?
I'm waiting for him to make a little smart aleck remark.
No, yeah. I
No.
don't know why you're looking at me. I mean, it's...
Ruth Loves to Knit is another podcast that I really enjoy. And she has a saying, it's my knitting, I'll cast on if I want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm going to. I had a goal to get my whips down to single digits. I will keep them in the single digits. But I have a little wiggle room right now. And I'm going to take it to the max number I can, I think. So next Saturday, I was going to do it this Saturday because I had a friend say, hey, I need to do some cast on stuff for some charity work I want to do what do you think about having a cast-on party? And I was going to do it this weekend, and then my husband said he wants to go. He's got plans for us on Saturday, which I'll talk about in a minute. So I can't do it this Saturday. I might just put like a little impromptu thing up on Instagram saying, hey, I'm home and I plan on opening up my Zoom room if anybody wants to participate this Saturday. I can't say what time though. Next Saturday, I will have it open the majority of the day.
So not this Saturday.
I'll have something open this Saturday. Sorry, it's not more structured with great information. But that would require so much planning that I just can't do. I'm not there right now. And the final activity, not the final one, because I had an afterthought, but there is a yarn shop crawl. It's called Rose City Yarn Crawl. There are 10 yarn shops in Portland where you can just go. They're just all participating in this yarn crawl. Who lives in Portland?
My uncle.
One of my favorite people on the planet. And I would love to. I've never participated in a yarn crawl. It is later this month, but it's a 6-hour drive and I'd get to see my brother and sister-in-law. And Bruce. So I don't know. I may or may not go. It's something I'd really love to go and participate in because I never have. But we'll see.
What is a yarn crawl?
You just go to different yarn shops and buy all the yarn.
Like you need any more yarn. You have hundreds of dollars of yarn.
Yeah, but you could do that with 2 or 3 skeins. 2 or 3 skeins of real primo yarn and it could be a couple of $100.
You have, regardless,
it would just be
couple $100.
I think it would be a lot of fun to go check out 10 different yarn shops in another city. And anyway,
I don't know why I'm critiquing you. I mean, you're not spending my money. It's, yeah. Yeah.
If I had,
you go and have fun. Spend as much money as you want.
If I had a local friend saying road trip, I think I would be pushing pretty hard to go to that one, but we'll see. So truly and finally, the final project or the final activity that I am going to be participating in is a mystery knit along. I'm going to grab this project bag real quick. Hold on.
Maybe you should be the one who says road trip.
No, because not everybody can just hop in the car and go. They need to think about younger children or jobs or spouses or whatever. Things I really should be thinking about. So, this is the yarn. This is the project bag I got from my mom last week, which I absolutely love this fabric, you guys. I love this fabric. And so what is happening in here is if you watch Nitty, okay, let me get this quieted down, sorry. Nitty McPurley has a website, has a YouTube channel, and I was just introduced to her channel. And so the final project or the final activity that I am participating in is by Nitty McPurley, and it is a mystery knit along for Lent, and which starts on Ash Wednesday, and you're gonna get 4 clues over a 40-day period. So the first one will be released on March 2nd, and that first clue on March 2nd will cover March 2nd to March 12th, and you'll have 10 days worth of clues. And each day is utilizing a 10-gram mini. So you figure a 10-gram mini each day for 40 days. How many 10-gram minis do you need?
40.
40. And if you've watched me for a little bit, you will know that I recently purchased, Ruth Loves to Knit was having a D-stash, and she had this bag of 50 minis that were 10 grams each. So I already had this bag full of 10 gram minis. And I was like, yes, please. I will sign up for that. It is a paid for pattern. I'm so excited to be participating in it. It is 40 days. You use 10 grams each, and every 10 days you're going to get a clue. It excludes Sunday. Sunday is like a catch-up day if you want to use it for that, if you get behind. But yes, it is something I'm going to be doing during Lent this year. So that is the other activity I will be participating on over the next little while. And again, it starts on March 2nd. If you're interested in participating in that, you can get the pattern on Nitty McPurley's website. It is a paid for pattern. You need 10 gram minis, I think a US 3 needle, and it does call for, it says a bunch of stitch markers. So I'm assuming there's going to be lace work in there. But yeah. I think that's all I've got for activities. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned you don't want to set goals. Okay, so we're not going to talk about where you'd like to be. But at this point, I'm going to say, hey, why don't you move your stitch marker up right now? Mm-hmm. So the next time we have an episode that you are participating in, you'll know that you already moved that. So my goals is I do want to cast on the back panel of my Louisa Harding, and I don't want any cast-ons this week until my cast-on party. If I'm able to do that this Saturday, great. I might have one or two. Otherwise, I'm going to hold off until next Saturday for the cast-on party. I think that's all that I'm going to have for goals this week. Do you, life stuff? I do want to talk about something. We had a comment last week on last week's episode, and it kind of resonated with me. And it was somebody, it was a comment that was addressing me and how I shush Anthony. And I was like, wow, because it's something that I've noticed in myself. And I absolutely responded back to this comment because I see it in myself as well. And I don't want to be that person. Right?
Well, you are.
I know.
No, you're not. You're not.
But it was great because at the end of this comment, she said, that her and her friends really wanted to see more of Anthony, and they wanted to hear more from Anthony.
Stop.
So, but I was talking to him, and I was like, I know I interrupt him, but I was like, does he feel like his contribution isn't significant? Because that's not how any mom wants to make their kid feel. And so I asked him, do you feel like
normally I wouldn't say you do, but thinking about it, I've noticed that you do kinda, but it's just to kind of finish my sentences, which I don't mind. I really don't mind, but you don't do it a whole lot, but I am thinking about it and you do it. Mm-hmm. But whenever she does finish my sentences, it's usually spot on. And so it's, and she's been doing it it was after my accident, and I had to relearn how to speak, basically, and I had to I had to because my memory was affected as well, and so I'd have to remember what words I was trying to get out, and so she would be like, this, and I'd be like, yeah, exactly. So she's been doing it for a very, very long time,
7 years. 7.5 years. But this might be a good time to talk about, okay, so Anthony did fall off of a second-story office building and was in a coma for 4 weeks. So if you're new here and you haven't heard us talk about that, Anthony fell off of a building and was in a coma for over 4 weeks. And, at first they're like, he has suffered life-threatening injuries. You should call your family to be with you at the hospital. They had me say goodbye to him 3 different times in those first 4 weeks. And I'm just so grateful he's here. I'm so glad that I get this time with my son. And I love that we get to knit together. But I also don't want him to feel like I do this with him because I learned to knit with and for him. I was a
How did you learn to knit for me?
Because when you wanted to learn how to knit, I was not going to be able to help you. When you ran into
you wanted to be able to help me whenever I run into trouble, and you'd be like, well, okay, I can, like, this is how you fix it.
Right. So I was a crocheter. I've been a crocheter since I was 9. And we were on a plane on our way to a medical appointment because we were in Alaska. And we were going to Seattle for a medical appointment. And he got seated next to this English woman who, as they got to talking, he informed her about his brain injury. But he was, they were just talking. He's on his way to a medical appointment. Just the small chit chat that you would have on a plane with somebody. And this woman was so kind and so patient. And he was so engrossed in what she was doing.
She was making a cowl.
She was making a cowl on circular needles. And he just thought it was the coolest thing. And he knew I didn't know how to knit.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And he wanted me to watch. And he wanted me to learn. He wanted to learn.
Yeah, I wanted to learn. And so we landed. I don't even know if we went to the hotel first. We like immediately we went to
we dropped our stuff in the room and then we went.
Okay, yeah, we went to the hotel. We just dropped our stuff in the room and then we left, and we went to a yarn store, and and we bought quite a bit.
We had no idea what we were doing.
Yeah, and then we went back and
back to the hotel.
Back to the hotel, and boy, we were on YouTube and we were learning how to do things, and the lady was making a cowl, and so she had a circular needle, like with the needles, and then there's
the cable.
A cable. And so I was just like, yeah, that's what I want to do. And so...
Because it was just going round and round and round.
Yeah. And, there wasn't any patterns. It was just, you keep doing the same thing. And so I made like 6 or 7 cowls.
I was going to say 8 or 9. But yeah, he just went cowl crazy. And it was great.
Yeah,
it was wonderful. So, but I learned how to knit with him in a hotel room in Seattle, waiting for medical appointments.
Yeah.
So, whenever we started doing this, it's so much fun to have him here. Last week, I was doing it by myself, and so I had my earbuds in. I wasn't sure that with him sitting, he just kind of popped into the craft room and kind of sat where his recliner was.
Yeah.
I didn't know if anybody could hear him. I mean, it was...
Yeah.
Anyway.
So with that... Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I'm so sorry if I come across rude. Like, I don't care what you have to say.
No, so last week, if that was the only video that you've watched, that's not... This is how the video usually is. So, so last week, the tripod with the camera, it was over here. My mom was sitting right here but turned, and I was sitting in my chair, and so I would just kind of over here talking, and so I was in the background, but I wasn't
I felt so bad that was the perception that was given.
Yeah, no, it was, yeah. So with every other video.
So I hope that person comes back and is able to see kind of
how it usually is.
Normally.
Yeah. And plus, every single video, we aren't sure how to like set up, like put the chairs and everything. So how it is right now, leave a comment.
Oh, I think Corey's home.
Yeah. So leave a comment, and you don't have to be nice. Like, just be brutally honest, and tell us like how you like this setup, and then we will kind of go off of what you guys think. And so, because we always, it's a very, because we just aren't sure, and so yeah, so kind of get your guys' input. Yeah.
So, life stuff. Your cousin will be back on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about doing the cast on party this Saturday, but my husband has other plans. We're going to go look at some property. He built a home several years ago, and he just really likes the idea of doing that again. He had an amazing time with that. So, yeah, I talked about the Valentines that we were doing for Alex. We're trying to get those wrapped up so she can take him to school on Monday. And yeah, I think that's it.
Okay.
Corey's home, so I'm going to have like this scurried roundup. But I think that's all I've got for this week. So we will see you guys next week. If you haven't liked or subscribed to our channel and you enjoyed this content, by all means, consider hitting the like and subscribe button, and we will see you guys in a week.
See you.
Bye.